Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 1 hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to hold virtual meeting with chief ministers to discuss West Asia conflict, focus on coordinated action and Team India synergy. Trump extends pause on striking Iranian energy plants by 10 days, says talks are ongoing, although Iran dismisses US proposal, citing it as one-sided and unfair. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar flags urgency of UNSC reforms at G7 meet in France, raises Global South's concerns about energy challenges, fertilizer supplies and food security. Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal pushes for WTO reforms at 14th Ministerial Conference in Cameroon, also urges careful reconsideration of e-commerce moratorium. Newly elected Balendra Shah to take oath as Prime Minister of Nepal today, youngest leader to hold the top executive post in the country. Amid rising tensions in West Asia, US President Donald Trump on Thursday announced that he will pause attacks on Iran's energy plants for 10 days until Monday, that is April 6th. In a post on social media, the US president claims that the announcement comes as per a request from the Iranian government. He further stated that the negotiations with Tehran were going very well. He further slammed the media for reporting erroneous statements contradicting the US president. Earlier on Monday, Trump announced that he had instructed the U.S. Department of War to delay any military action against Iranian power plants and energy sites for 5 days, citing ongoing diplomatic engagements with Tehran and escalating tensions in West Asia. Meanwhile, the Wall Street Journal reported on Thursday, citing peace talk mediators, that Iran has not requested pause on energy site strikes. Mediators further said that Iran is yet to deliver a final response to a 15-point plan to end the war. US President Donald Trump has launched a sharp critique against NATO, accusing the alliance of failing to provide support as the military continues operations against Iran. Addressing a cabinet meeting on Thursday, Trump sharply criticized NATO, saying the alliance had provided no meaningful support during recent conflict with Iran. He described the ongoing conflict as a test for NATO, asserting that the alliance had contributed little while the US bore the primary burden of the combat.
One thing we're very disappointed, I'll say it publicly, we're very disappointed with NATO because NATO has done absolutely nothing. We were always there when they needed help. We always would have been there when they needed help. I mean, think of it. We're there to protect Europe from Russia. In theory, it doesn't affect us. We have an ocean, big, fat, beautiful ocean. But we're there to protect NATO, to protect them from Russia. But they're not there to protect us. It's ridiculous. It doesn't make sense.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio also said that it was in the interest of U.S. allies to take a greater role in safeguarding shipping through the Strait of Hormuz, a vital energy corridor for global markets. Talking to media before heading to France for G7 foreign ministers meet, Rubio urged the key U.S. allies to treat the Iran war and the shutdown of the Strait of Hormuz as their concern as well, criticizing European leaders who have labelled the conflict not Europe's war, while the U.S. continues to commit resources to other fronts.
The United States is constantly being asked to help in a war, and we have more than any other country in the world, on a war that's happening in another continent, in Ukraine. But when the U.S. had a need, he didn't get proper positive responses. So right now he's just making the observation that, I think there was a couple of the leaders in Europe who said that this was not Europe's war. Well, Ukraine is not America's war, and yet we've contributed more to that fight than any other country in the world. So it'll be something to examine. The president will have to take into account down the road.
Australia's leader on Friday said that it was not consulted over the war with Iran, which was having a massive global economic impact, responding to President Donald Trump's swipe that the US ally was not doing enough. The Australian government insisted on Friday that it still has not received any direct requests from the United States for military aid in its war with Iran. Talking to media in Canberra, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said that Australia was in close contact with Gulf states under attack from Iran, providing a surveillance aircraft to help defend the United Arab Emirates, where many Australians live. He further added that there is no request being made to Australia that has not been agreed to. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has said that preventing the passage of enemy vessels is the legal right of Iran. According to a report by state-run Fars news agency, citing a telephonic conversation with the UN Chief Antonio Guterres, Araghchi said that the current insecurity in the Strait of Hormuz was a direct result of law-breaking and aggression by the US and Israel. According to Fars, the minister noted that preventing the movement of vessels belonging to or affiliated with enemies and their allies is a legal right for Iran as a coastal state. The International Atomic Energy Agency's Director General, Rafael Grossi, has reiterated his deep concern about recent military strikes near Iran's Bushehr nuclear power plant. The IAEA chief warned that damage to the facility could result in a major radiological accident affecting a large area in Iran and beyond. He called for maximum restraint and stressed the importance of the 7 pillars for ensuring nuclear safety. And back home, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will hold an interaction with chief ministers on Friday evening via video conferencing to review the state-level preparedness amid the ongoing West Asia conflict. The discussions will focus on coordinated action and Team India synergy. According to the reports, chief ministers of pole-bound states will not be attending the meeting. The meeting comes after the all-party meeting chaired by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh was held on Wednesday in New Delhi. The Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas categorically states that India's petroleum and LPG supply situation is fully secure and under control. As India is a net exporter to the world, domestic petrol and diesel availability is structurally assured. Not a single outlet has been asked to ration supply. Across the world, countries are dealing with price increase, rationing, odd even vehicle restrictions and forced station closures. Few have declared national energy emergency. India does not feel the need for any such measures. While other nations are rationing, there is no shortage of supplies in India. Despite the situation at the Strait of Hormuz, India is receiving more crude oil from its 41+ suppliers across the world than what was previously arriving through the straits. Every Indian refinery is running at over 100% utilization. Crude oil supplies for the next 60 days have already been tied up by Indian oil companies, and there is no supply gap. Nearly 2 months of a steady supply, in fact, is available for every Indian citizen, regardless of what happens globally. Next 2 months of crude procurement has also been secured. India is completely secure for the next many months. Therefore, any representation that India's reserves are depleted or insufficient should be dismissed with the disdain it deserves. Also, there is no LPG shortage. Following the LPG control order issued by the ministry, domestic refinery production has been ramped up by 40%, bringing daily LPG output to 50 TMT, that is more than 60% of our requirement, as against a total daily requirement of around 80 TMT. Approximately 1 full month of supply is firmly arranged, with additional procurement being finalized continuously. Oil companies are successfully delivering over 50 lakh cylinders every day. Piped natural gas is being promoted in full coordination with state governments because it is cheaper, cleaner and safer for Indian households. Domestic PNG connections have grown from 25 lakh to over 1.5 crore. The claim that PNG is being pushed because LPG is running out is misinformation. And in news just coming in, Israel's military said that its forces carried out strikes on infrastructure targets in Tehran early on Friday. This is the latest from the Middle East crisis we're getting for you this morning. Iran's military has said that its forces carried out wide-scale strike on infrastructure targets in Tehran early on Friday. A brief military statement said that Israeli forces completed a wide-scale wave of strikes targeting infrastructure of the Iranian terror regime in the heart of Tehran. Meanwhile, Iran's Revolutionary Guard said on Friday that they had carried out missile and drone strikes the previous day, targeting sites in Israel and military facilities in the Gulf used by US forces. In a statement carried by IRNA and Fars news agencies, the IRGC said that the strikes involved long and medium-range missiles and destructive and roaming drones and targeted sites in Israel, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Kuwait and Bahrain. The statement said a maintenance facility for US air defense system Patriot was targeted in Bahrain. In news just coming in, this is the latest we are getting for you from the Middle East crisis. Israel's military said that its forces carried out strikes on infrastructure targets in Tehran early today. The military statement said that Israeli forces completed a wide-scale wave of strikes targeting infrastructure of the Iranian terror regime in the heart of Tehran. Also, Iran's Revolutionary Guard said on Friday that they had carried out missile and drone strikes the previous day, targeting sites in Israel and military facilities in the Gulf used by US forces. In a statement carried by IRNA and Fars news agencies, the IRGC said that the strikes involved long and medium-range missiles and destructive and roaming drones and targeted sites in Israel, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Kuwait and Bahrain. Also, the statement said a maintenance facility for US air defense system Patriot was targeted in Bahrain. The 4-week war has spread across West Asia and it hits the global economy with soaring energy prices, fueling global inflation fears. Stock indices in the US fell sharply on Thursday. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 1.01%. The S&P 500 fell 1.74%, while Nasdaq Composite fell over 2%. MSCI's gauge of stocks across the globe fell 1.6%. The Pan-European Stocks 600 also fell 1.13%. Oil prices also jumped on Thursday as hopes for a peace deal between the US and Iran wavered. Brent crude closed up 5.7% at $108.01 per barrel, while West Texas Intermediate ended up 4.6% at $94.48. You're watching DD India News. Are waiting for a short break, but after the break, Mexico sends 4th shipment of humanitarian aid to Cuba, consisting of food, medical supplies and hygiene products. Amid legal fee row, former Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro appears in a New York court in the ongoing drug trafficking case. Marking the first time a sitting president signing American money, Trump's signature to appear on US currency notes. After the break, you're watching DD India News. Let's get you more international updates. Donald Trump on Thursday stated that he will take executive action to pay 50,000 airport security workers as a deal stalled in Congress to address staff shortage that have snarled travel around the country. Also, he said that he's directing the Homeland Security Department to pay Transportation Security Administration agents immediately to ease airport disruptions following the resignation of about 500 officers due to unpaid work during the shutdown. While Republicans have rejected Democratic efforts to fund TSA separately amid broader immigration negotiations, the TSA warned it may shut smaller airports with over 11% of officers absent nationwide and up to 30% or more at some major airports. Hundreds of immigration and Homeland Security agents were deployed to 14 airports to support security operations while continuing to be paid during the shutdown. U.S. paper currency will bear President Donald Trump's signature starting this summer, the first time a sitting president has signed American money. The redesigned notes planned to mark the 250th anniversary of the American independence will also, for the first time in 165 years, drop the signatures of the U.S. Treasurer, who reports to the Treasury Secretary and oversees the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, the U.S. Mint, and other Treasury functions. The first $100 bills with Trump's signature and that of U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent will be printed in June, followed by other bills in subsequent months. The new bills may take several weeks to circulate through the banks. Former Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro appeared in a New York court on Thursday in an ongoing drug trafficking case. Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, are seeking dismissal of the charges amid a dispute over legal fee. The court heard arguments on whether Maduro can use Venezuelan government's funds to pay for his defense. A U.S. judge questioned the government's decision to block access to these funds, but refused to dismiss the case. Maduro and Flores, appearing in prison attire, have pleaded not guilty to charges including narco-terrorism conspiracy. Their lawyers argue that restrictions on funds violate their right to legal counsel under the U.S. Constitution. Prosecutors maintain the sanctions are based on national security and foreign policy concerns. Demonstrators gathered outside the courthouse, both supporting and opposing Maduro as the case proceeds. Mexico's Navy said on Thursday that it had activated a search and rescue operation in the Caribbean to locate two sailboats carrying humanitarian aid to Cuba after the vessels failed to arrive in Havana as scheduled. In a statement, the Navy said that the two boats left Isla Mujeres in the Mexican Caribbean state of Quintana Roo last week, bound for Havana, with 9 crew members of different nationalities on board. The vessels had been expected to arrive between March 24th and 25th, but there had been no communication from them and no confirmation of their arrival. The two missing boats are part of a broader grassroots aid effort for energy-strapped Cuba, which has been suffering prolonged power outages and a deepening economic crisis. Mexico also established contact with maritime rescue coordination centers in Poland, France, Cuba, and the United States, as well as diplomatic representatives of the countries of origin of those on board. The central Cuban province of Cienfuegos began receiving humanitarian aid this week from Mexico, consisting of basic food supplies intended for vulnerable population. The donations, including canned goods, grains, and cooking oil, will be distributed to schools, healthcare centers, orphanages, and vulnerable age groups. It marks the 4th shipment of aid from Mexico delivered via Mexican Navy vessels, with the 5th shipment en route aboard a ship that departed from Veracruz. In addition to food, the aid includes medical supplies and hygiene products, as confirmed by Cuba's Ministry of Domestic Trade. After removing Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro, Trump blocked Venezuela's oil exports to Cuba and warned other countries not to supply oil, aiming to pressure Cuba economically. Thousands of students in Santiago protested against education budget cuts introduced by Chile's new far-right president, José Antonio Cast, who took office on March 11th. His administration ordered a 3% reduction in spending across ministries and is considering limiting free university tuition. Demonstrators marched past the presidential palace carrying anti-government signs, while clashes broke out as some protesters threw stones and police used water cannons. Students argued the reforms threaten long-fought education rights. Caste aims to cut $6 billion in public spending, raising concerns over social programs. Rising fuel prices following subsidy cuts also fueled tensions, prompting the government to declare an energy emergency. And going back to our top story, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will hold an interaction with chief ministers on Friday evening via video conferencing to review the state-level preparedness amid the ongoing West Asia conflict. For more on this, we are joined in by DD India's correspondent Akhilesh Suman for more. As we told you, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be holding a virtual meeting with chief ministers across the country on the emerging and evolving, in fact, on the evolving West Asia situation. These discussions will focus on coordinated action and also Team India synergy. However, chief ministers of pole-bound states will not be attending this meeting. Remember, this meeting comes after the all-party meeting chaired by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh on Wednesday in New Delhi. So, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be holding an interaction with chief ministers on Friday. He will be evaluating the preparedness of the states amid the ongoing West Asia conflict. This also comes amid the statement by Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, which categorically stated that India's petroleum and LPG supply situation is fully secure and under control. The government has called out against deliberate misinformation campaigns. India's energy supply is fully secure and unhindered. Not a single outlet has been asked to ration supply. Across the world, we are witnessing countries dealing with price increases, rationing, odd even vehicle restrictions, forced station closures. But there is no need for any such measures in India. And our correspondent Akhilesh Suman is joining us to spell out more details. Akhilesh, we've told our viewers that Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be holding an interaction with chief ministers this evening via video conferencing. This will be aimed at evaluating the preparedness amid the ongoing West Asia conflict. What more can you add?
Actually, you know that if you heard the Prime Minister's statement in Rajya Sabha and before that in Lok Sabha, we could understand that, situation has to be managed in a way that it does not, impact common people's life. He has said that, that there are problems because of the supply chain disruption in Hormuz, and it is affecting many other regions of the world. And that is why, that he made the statement in the House of, upper house and both lower house. In that, statement, he also said that there will be 7 empowered group of ministers that will be created at the center that will take care right from fertilizer to supply chain to fuel, everything. So I think that to apprise the chief minister about the steps the center is going to take and also energize the state government to understand the gravity of the situation and how they can tighten the administration so that false narratives are not spread. And in that endeavor, today evening, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to hold a video conferencing with all the chief ministers to apprise them with the situation. He has said that that there are situations like Corona, and in that way it's a new situation, and we have to prepare our administration in such a way that common people's life are not getting affected. Even though we have enough fuel and enough crude oil, but there are some panic buying, panic booking. We have seen that some people are gathering at the petrol pumps in huge numbers, and that is creating, impact on other parts of the country also. So I think to apprise the states that there is no scarcity of anything, and India has also, started buying crude oil from different other countries. 41 countries are giving crude to Indian basket, and also LPG tankers are coming also from Strait of Hormuz and from other places. Also, India is also increasing the domestic production of LPG. So, in that way, I think it is very good move to apprise the Chief Minister of the situation and what central government is doing there. And other than that, that there will be also a meeting with the cabinet, chief secretaries of some states where elections are going to be held. So in that way, those chief ministers who are going into election, they will not be present in the meeting today, but their chief secretaries will come later, and they will have a dialogue with Prime Minister, and Chief Cabinet Secretariat will organize and coordinate meeting with Chief Secretary.
All right, so that was about the meeting which the Prime Minister will hold today amid the assurances that there is no energy shortage in the country. Having said that, how do you evaluate the situation in West Asia evolving from here on? On one side, we have Donald Trump saying that he has paused the strikes on Iran for the next 10 days. At the same time, we have the dismissals coming on from the Iranian side, which said that no talks are being held. Put all this together, how do you see the events, or how do you see the situation unfold from here on?
Actually, Iranians don't accept the proposals that are coming from, American side. And they have also, sent 5-point demand. And these 5-point demand also include, and one is very grave, that is the control over the Strait of Hormuz. So this is going to be a very contentious point, and I think no country in the world will accept that the Strait of Hormuz, which has freedom of navigation till now, should be given in the control of Iran, and Iran will have sovereign right on this international water. So I think this is a very sticking point. Iran is also demanding for reparation, means whatever damage it has got. So it has all the right to ask. But the whole thing is that when Donald Trump, America is asking for total denuclearization of Iran, whether Iran will accept this or not, this is also a $1 billion question. So things are there in the pipelines, intermediaries, mediators. They are working that some settled agreement should be there, but you cannot tell that in between America is also sending the Marines, extra Marines to the area. They have already enough troops in the whole area, and if they are sending extra Marines, that means that there may be ground invasion inside Iran. So I think situation is very fluid, and it depends that how Iran plays the ball, because the ball is in the Iran. Israel and America are attacking Iran. Iran is also attacking on the American bases in the West Asia, and Iran is also attacking inside Israel. Israelis are also getting affected. So everyone wants a settlement, but everyone has their own has its own conditions. So whether the agreement will fulfill all the aspirations of all the country, it will be a question to see. But let us keep hope that something will come out after 10 days, when Donald Trump has announced that till April 6 he will not attack any energy infrastructure in Iran. So just mind it, it is just not attacking the energy infrastructure in Iran. That means that other attacks will be taking place inside Iran, and in that way Iran will be also attacking the places it wants inside Israel or inside West Asia near the US bases. So I think that no one can be very optimistic in this point of time. Conflict is still escalating, but let's see that how it pans up in coming days.
All right, so the situation is still fluid. We'll have to see how the days ahead pan out. Thank you so much, Akhilesh, for joining in with those details. And getting you other news, Balendra Shah, a senior leader of the Rashtriya Swatantrata Party, is likely to be sworn in as Nepal's youngest Prime Minister. Shah, popularly known as Balen, who was projected by the Rashtriya Swatantrata Party as the prime ministerial candidate during the campaign ahead of March 5th general election, will also be the first person from the Madhes region to hold the top executive post in the country. Balendra was sworn in as a member of the House of Representatives by Arjun Narsingh Kesi, the eldest among the newly elected members of the House of Representatives, and then on Friday he will be given oath as the Prime Minister by President Ramchandra Patel. The parliamentary party meeting elected Balendra as its leader, formally qualifying him for the top executive post of the country. In the House of Representatives elections, 165 members were elected through the first past the post system, while 110 were elected through the proportional representation system. RSP has been the largest party who got huge sweeping mandate in Nepal with 182 seats. You're watching DD India News. Are waiting for a short break, but after the break, Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate Noida International Airport at Uttar Pradesh's Jewar on Saturday. On World Theatre Day today, we get you a special report on how theatre has evolved as a total art form.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Johar. It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout हो गया.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar on Thursday highlighted the urgency of humanitarian reforms, streamlining peacekeeping operations and strengthening humanitarian supply chains at the G7 foreign ministers meeting in France. Speaking at the meeting in France with partners on the reform of global governance, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar specifically raised Global South's concerns about energy challenges, fertilizer supplies and food security. The minister also shared views about India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor at the second session of the G7 foreign ministers meeting with invited partners. The uncertainties arising from the conflicts in West Asia only make a stronger case for more resilient trade corridors and supply chains. At the same time, India's FTAs with the European Union, EFTA members and UK have enhanced the utility of IMEC, appreciating the wide support and enthusiasm to realize this important connectivity initiative. India's Minister of Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal is in Cameroon, where he is participating in the 14th Ministerial Conference of the World Trade Organization. During his first engagement, the Union Minister emphasized that WTO reform discussions should follow a transparent, inclusive and member-driven approach, ensuring that development remains central. He also underscored the importance of preserving the organization's core principles, including non-discrimination, consensus-based decision-making, special and differential treatment, most favoured nation status and overall equity among the members. On the sidelines of the World Trade Organization conference, Union Minister Piyush Goyal held a series of high-level bilateral meetings aimed at strengthening global trade partnership. The Commerce Minister called the Prime Minister of Cameroon, Joseph Dion Ngute. The two leaders discussed a range of bilateral and multilateral issues, focusing on opportunities to further deepen India-Cameroon cooperation. The Union Minister also met Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, the Director General of the WTO. The meeting focused on India's constructive engagement in the ongoing WTO reform discussions. He also reaffirmed India's commitment to building a resilient, inclusive and forward-looking multilateral trading system. In another key engagement, Union Minister Goyal met Sjoerd Sjoerdsma. He is the Minister of Foreign Trade and Development Cooperation of Netherlands. The discussions covered WTO reform efforts, anticipated benefits of the recently concluded India-EU Free Trade Agreement and also potential sectoral collaborations. The Commerce Minister also held talks with Nicolas Frozier of France. Both the sides reviewed ongoing WTO reform initiatives and highlighted the strategic advantages of the India-EU FTA while exploring ways to enhance bilateral trade and economic ties. Engaging with African partners, Minister Goel met Kazahon Balami, Ethiopia's Minister of Trade and Regional Integration. He also reiterated India's strong support for the African Continental Free Trade Area and discussed expanding cooperation across priority sectors for mutual economic growth. India's Minister of State for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Jayant Chaudhary, is on an official visit to Cape Town, South Africa, for the Outcomes Finance Alliance Summit 2026. During the visit, Jayant Chaudhary joined government delegations and outcome funders for a high-level roundtable dialogue. Discussions centered on leveraging blended finance and private investment to scale up outcome-based skilling initiatives. Jayant Chaudhary engaged with Head of Private Sector Development at the State Secretariat for Economic Affairs, Switzerland, Christian Brandley. The conversation centered on strengthening cooperation. Later, Jayant Chaudhary also held a bilateral meeting with Jemima Hodkinson and Lauren Loberts of the Private Sector and Capital Markets Department at the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office of the UK government. March 28th is set to be a landmark day for Uttar Pradesh as the first phase of the much-awaited Jewar International Airport will be inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the presence of Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath. The inauguration of the Noida International Airport marks a significant milestone in India's journey towards becoming a global aviation hub. Take a look.
March 28th is set to be a landmark day for Uttar Pradesh. On this day, the first phase of the much-awaited Jewar Airport will be inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The airport has been developed as a multimodal transport hub, ensuring seamless connectivity across road, rail, metro and regional transport networks. The project was announced in 2017 and its foundation stone was laid by Prime Minister Modi on November 26, 2021. The state-of-the-art international airport has been constructed at a cost of 11,200 crore rupees. The airport is equipped with a 3,900-meter-long runway capable of handling wide-body aircraft. In addition, the airport will feature a dedicated repair and overhaul center for aircraft maintenance.
Srinagar came alive with devotion and festivity as Ram Navami celebrations were held with great enthusiasm across the city. Amid the sound of conch shells and devotional chants, a grand procession featuring idols of Lord Ram, Goddess Sita and Lakshman drew participation from people across communities.
The deep sound of conch shells and religious chants. Lord Ram, Sita and Lakshman on a decorated cart and devotees from all walks of life. Streets of Srinagar witnessed the Ram Navami fervour on Thursday that brought together scores of devotees. Joyous participants said the annual procession helped to foster unity across faiths in Jammu and Kashmir. Devotees offered prayers to Lord Ram, seeking peace and prosperity across the region.
Lord Ram is so merciful and bountiful and dignified and removes everyone's sorrow. On this day, we all pray to him, falling at his feet, wishing for happiness all around and to keep the peace in this place.
With security measures in place, the procession began from the Katleshwar Mandir in Old Srinagar city and passed through the Haba Kadal, Balendra Shah and Lal Chowk localities.
East Indian city of Bhubaneswar witnessed an outpouring of faith and devotion as the festival of Ashokashtami was celebrated, drawing large numbers of devotees to the city for the Rukuna Rath Yatra of Lord Lingaraj, a sacred manifestation of Lord Shiva. The occasion was marked by elaborate rituals, chanting of hymns, and a deep spiritual fervour among the devotees.
The annual Ashokashtami festival was celebrated on Thursday in Bhubaneswar, Odisha, where thousands of devotees participated in the Rukuna Rath Yatra of Lord Lingaraj, a revered manifestation of Lord Shiva. Ceremonial rituals, devotional chants, and a deep sense of faith marked the occasion. According to local folklore, after killing Ravan, Lord Ram is believed to have incurred the sin of killing a Brahmin. To seek forgiveness, he came to Ekamra Kshetra, the ancient name for present-day Bhubaneswar, and worshipped Lord Shiva in the form of Lingaraj. The grand chariot procession followed its traditional route between the 11th century Lingaraj temple and the Rameshwara temple in the city. Elaborate security arrangements were put in place for crowd management by the local administration.
There has been detailed arrangements made for the Rath Yatra in Bhubaneswar of Lingaraj. Police officers in plain clothes have also been deployed to keep an eye on the antisocial elements.
The return chariot procession, known as Bahuda Yatra, will be held on Monday, March 30th.
Theatre is a celebration of storytelling, creativity and the magic of live performance. On World Theatre Day on March 27th, honours the profound influence of the stage on cultures and communities. Here's a special report by DD India's Shreya Mukherjee.
Our powerful art form, theatre, reflects the triumphs, challenges and dreams of the society. World Theatre Day, initiated by the International Theatre Institute, was first celebrated on March 27, 1962. Across the globe, artists, actors and playwrights come together to mark this day with performances, workshops and discussions. It's not just about entertainment. Theatre sparks dialogue, questions norms and inspires change. As part of the celebrations, acclaimed American actor and theatre maker William Dafoe's World Theatre Day 2026 message emphasizes on how theatre as a total art form can make us see what was, what is and what our world could be.
In a world that seems to get more divisive, controlling and violent, our challenge as theatre makers is to avoid the corruption of theatre solely as a commercial enterprise dedicated to entertainment by distraction or as the institutional dry preserver of traditions, but rather to foster its strength to connect peoples, communities, cultures, and above all to question where we are going.
India's theatrical heritage finds its foundation in Bharat Muni's Natya Shastra. This ancient text is believed to have laid down the fundamentals of performance, expression and stagecraft, positioning India among the earliest contributors to world theatre traditions. From ancient amphitheatres, street plays to modern black box spaces and virtual performances, theatre continues to evolve. In today's digital age, theatre continues to flourish, driven by the passion and loyalty of its performers and audiences.
More and more you spend time in the virtual world, you will actually be needing to see people, real people. So theatre is a real people medium. It's a live medium. So more AI improves, more people will come to theatre. So the future of theatre in this digital age or AI age is very, very, I think it's going to be a very, very powerful medium.
In times of conflict, the stage becomes a powerful tool for empathy, narrating human stories that rise above borders and divisions.
World Theatre Day reminds us that storytelling is not just an art form. It's a powerful tool for connection, reflection and change. With camera person Uttam Singh, this is Shreya Mukherjee for DD India.
On World Theatre Day, actor Geetanjali Kulkarni says that theatre has been a guiding force in her 3-decade-long journey. She urged everyone, especially the youngsters, to be part of the theatre as actors, backstage contributors or even as audience, highlighting its role in nurturing creativity and human connection.
That one should always be part of a theatre group. Either if you are an actor or if you're a theatre maker, you should make theatre, or you're an audience, you should go to theatres and watch theatre. So I will request all the youngsters to do theatre activities, which will really give you a constructive way to look at things and give you a lot of energy, and it will build curiosity in you. So once again, a very happy World Theatre Day to all of you.
You're watching DD India News. We're waiting for a short break, but after the break, bearing the brunt of the 4-week Iran war, oil prices shoot up, sending the world economy for a toss. Aiming to reduce confusion in sports, IOC sets new rule for women's Olympic events with only biological females allowed to compete henceforth. Arrival of spring season amuses all at the tidal basin. Stay with us for a quick glimpse of the beautiful landscape.
Let's step into the fight for the rights of nature, not in theory, but in practicality, and for nature to become our priority that is protected.
It's like a fertilizer power plant. So every time it eats, it digests the dead material, it breaks them down, and then it poops out the sands. Without this, the whole ecosystem here would be just broken rocks.
Recently, we had an Operation Coral Sheet wherein 10 Myanmarese poachers were caught. We had almost 800 kilograms of sea cucumber that was seized from them. We had an engine dinghy that was also seized. So it's an ongoing activity.
Here you can see this waterfall coming from the industrial area over there. This is industrial wastewater that flows directly into the river without any real treatment or purification.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News. Let's get you updates from the world of business now. Asian stock markets were swept up in a global rout on Friday, cracking Wall Street lower as the threat of a protracted energy shockout of West Asia crisis sent borrowing costs spiraling higher. MSCI's broadest index of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan tumbled 1.4% and was set for a weekly drop of 3% on Friday. Japan's Nikkei skidded 1.3% and was down 0.9% for the week. South Korea's Kospi also plunged 3%, bringing its weekly loss to a staggering 8.5%. Chinese blue chips fell 1%, while Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index slipped 0.4%. Meanwhile, oil prices jumped on Thursday as hopes for a peace deal between the United States and Iran wavered. Brent crude closed up 5.7% at $108.01 per barrel, while West Texas Intermediate ended up 4.6% at $94.48. Countries across the globe are taking various measures to deal with oil crisis as the West Asia conflict is going to enter the 5th week. New Zealand on Friday outlined a 4-phase strategy to manage rising risks to petrol, diesel and jet fuel supplies. Talking to media, Finance Minister Nicola Willis said that there is no immediate cause for alarm as companies have a good level of confidence in fuel orders out to the end of May. However, she warned the country must prepare for disruptions if tankers were unable to pass through the Strait of Hormuz for an extended period and if refinery output fails. Japan's government meanwhile said that it has planned to temporarily lift restrictions on coal-fired power plants as it seeks to ease an energy crunch caused by Iran war. Vietnam's finance ministry on Friday said that it has suspended an environmental protection tax and special consumption tax on fuels to stabilize the domestic market. The removal of the taxes on gasoline, diesel and jet fuel will be effective until April 15th. Empty gas stations and price boards still displaying pre-hike rates capture Chileans' rising concerns as a steep fuel price hike announced by the government took effect on Thursday. The new administration, inaugurated on March 11th, activated a clause in its fuel stabilization mechanism to quickly bring domestic prices in line with surging international rates. The increase raises the cost of 93-octane petrol by roughly 30% and diesel by about 60%. Soon after the announcement, long queues started forming and several fuel stations quickly ran out of stock. With public finances under strain, officials said the government could no longer absorb the fast-mounting cost shock, prompting the abrupt adjustment now unfolding at pumps across the country. While Finance Minister Jorge Queiroz said that the future price changes will be gradual and that any drop in crude prices will be passed through quickly. A cyclone off Australia triggered outages at two of the world's largest LNG plants as West Asia turmoil stoked soaring demand for the fuel. The Gorgon and Wheatstone gas plants suffered outages on Thursday afternoon as tropical cyclone Nerel lurked off the coast of Western Australia. Both the gas plants in Australia collectively supply about 5% of the world's liquefied natural gas. Energy giant Chevron said that it is working to restart production at the Gorgon and Wheatstone gas facilities and will return to full operations soon. We take a look at sports updates now. The Board of Council for Cricket in India, that is BCCI, announced the schedule for the second phase of the IPL 2026. The remainder of the league stage, comprising of 50 matches, will be played from April 13 to May 24th across 12 venues in India. Matches in the second phase will be held in Bengaluru, Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata, Delhi, Ahmedabad, Hyderabad, Lucknow, Jaipur, Dharamshala, Raipur and New Chandigarh. The action resumes on April 13th with Sunrisers Hyderabad taking on Rajasthan Royals in Hyderabad, setting the tone for an exciting run of fixtures. The BCCI has unveiled the fixtures for Team India International Home Season 2026-27. The upcoming home season promises an exciting and action-packed calendar featuring 4 visiting teams: West Indies, Sri Lanka, Zimbabwe and Australia in a multi-format schedule. The season will comprise of 22 international matches in 17 cities, offering fans across the country the opportunity to witness top-quality international cricket. The season will commence with the West Indies Tour of India starting September 27th. The International Olympic Committee has introduced a new rule for women's events at the Olympic Games. From now onwards, only biologically female athletes will be allowed to compete in the women's category, and all participants will need to take a one-time SRY gene test to confirm their eligibility. This decision was made to create a single, clear rule after years of confusion and different policies across sports. Earlier, the IOC had allowed each sport to decide its own rules, but the new IOC president, Christy Coventry, changed this approach and introduced a universal policy. The new rules will apply only in the future and will not affect past Olympic results or amateur sports. Previously, transgender athletes could compete if approved by their sports federations, and only a few, such as Laurel Hubbard at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, have taken part. Spring has arrived in Washington, D.C. as crowds gather at the tidal basin to witness cherry blossoms in peak bloom. The iconic trees, gifted by Japan over a century ago, continue to symbolize enduring friendship while transforming the capital into a vibrant spring spectacle. With that, we end this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. Now, this app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can download the respective QR codes. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.